Hi! How are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? Oh my goodness, you all. For whatever reasons, I was on time and then I wasn't. And now I hope to stay on time and on track for you all. But I'm still kind of like knitting the pieces of the things that I do together. How dare I run behind a little bit? Oh, anyway, we'll get the hang of this. We'll get the go. How are you all doing? I don't see that we have any comments as of yet, but hello, hello, the couple people that I see that are popping in. I hope you are well. The game plan for today is to be reading for our guides or with our guides, our guardians, our ancestors, any life questions that you have, because today is Friday and it's my fun part of the week where I get to kind of like connect with you all and talk with you all about whatever's going on for you, whatever's going on with you. So let's just give it a little bit of time so that everybody can come in, because I know that we had a couple people that were like super excited and ready to come in, and I might have missed them. But it happens. So please let me know that you can hear me, that you can see me. That just lets me know that all the wires are connecting, that everything is going well. Yeah, and then we'll get going. We'll get going. Cool. So I just had to light my little candle because I'm that person who always has a little fire going all the time. Denise, hey, sweet pea. Bonus chill time with you. Absolutely. Absolutely. I want some incense though. I feel like I'm missing my favorite smoke blends. Ooh, let's start here. I'm gonna take a touch of no, actually that's not what I'd like. I want something aromatic. I want something. Hi, Kia. You can hear me perfectly, hon. So yep, I'm being obnoxious. I'm hopping out of frame just long enough to grab some of my favorite incenses. I'll just show you real quick. It's a brand that I used to get at my favorite metaphysical store before kind of COVID kicked in. But these guys last forever. Look how thick that is. They last for so long, but they put out so much aroma. So in my little tiny little tree space, it lasts quite a while. Lasts quite a while. So yeah, here in a moment we'll get started. I just like to give everybody the chance to come in, to kind of have that go, that go going live. Sweet. Hello, sweet peas. So tell me where you're from. Some of you I know. Denise, we've gotten a chance to chat a little bit. But everybody else that's in here that's just kind of lingering, tell me where you're from. Well, I like the incense. Tell me where you're from, sweet souls. There we go. Just getting it all put together. Philadelphia. I have friends out there. Or at least I used to. Back when I was a youngin'. And I was a little bit more datey, doing more dating. I had friends in Philadelphia. We haven't spoken in a long time. I might have to reach out and say hello. Or maybe not. That's fine. Sometimes we just need to leave those in the past. There we go. We got a little smoke going perfectly. Denise is in Tacoma, which is like minutes away from me. Denise, if I ever start doing in-person sessions again, you and I are gonna have to say hi. Just saying. Just saying. Miss Ashley is from Georgia. Sweet. I love to hear that. Oh my goodness. Well, I thoroughly suspect that as this live continues to go, that there may be more people coming in. But let's just go ahead and get going, you guys, because I'm here for you. So if it just so happens that the three of y'all are here the whole time, y'all all get my attention. That's kind of the cool part with this. So let me just do a quick little housekeeping, making sure that everything is exactly as it needs to be, exactly where it needs to be, and then we'll hop in. So I hope you have you shared. Thank you. You guys, you don't have to share. I love it when you do. But I love it when it's meaningful sharing, not just like spam sharing. Because some people have this ritual where it's like, oh yeah, I shared. So because I did that, we're like, I mean, not indebted, but it's like you've fulfilled some sort of unspoken obligation. And it's not that at all. I like to read for anybody who is interested, who is curious, who needs something to chew on, those kind of things. And it's not super necessary to have to pay for it, right? Not in this sense. If you schedule sessions with me directly, that's how we exchange our energy and our time. But I appreciate meaningful shares. So thank you so much. And Denise was like, no way, only shared with you and one other person. Perfect. Thank you. And Lori is my Minnesota sweet pea. Thank you so much for coming. And good evening, Miss Butterflies. Okay, so every time I see your butterfly's name, I have the memory that I believe you told me your actual name is Heather, but I want to make sure that I'm getting those connections right. So I hope that's the case, and totally let me know, hon. But looks like everything is live. Looks like everything is set up. So that is perfect. All right, sweet peas. So if you have a specific question, if you have something that you'd like for me to dig into, go ahead and start typing that now. And I'm going to talk a little bit about who I am, what my why is, and why we're here today. How's that sound? So just to let you know, I know you guys know me, but this is more for anybody who comes and sees me some other time when I'm not live. So let me introduce myself. I'll go through my list. My name is Abby. I am a professional psychic medium here in the Seattle area. And what I like to do is I reach out to our guides, our guardians, and our ancestors to answer questions that you have about your life, about your circumstance, about anything that's going on for you. I also have a mediumistic streak in me. So currently I do accept questions that talk about or ask specifically about connecting to deceased loved ones and kind of pulling their energy in and maybe either asking them something specific or just connecting with them and having them share their messages of love, messages of support, and anything else that might be needed, all for like the purpose to kind of give a little ease, get a little peace, get a little comfort. That's usually the game plan there. Even so much that I've written it into like my business's mission statement. That's what I did. So to tell you about my why, like why I'm doing this, it's because I believe that we all have ancestors, right? We all have spirit guides, and we all have people that have passed away. Like, to be on this planet, you've had people that have passed away, and that they all are conspiring to assist us in the day-to-day workings of our life. So the mundane and the profane. I think profane might be useful in that regard, but also for the like continual advancement of our soul and our internal being. While they communicate with us all the time in so many ways, we all understand that sometimes words or human communication is really, really useful to kind of get the nuance, get the meanings, get the message that was originally intent. And all of this can give us a new perspective, enhance meaning, or maybe shed some light on some information in a new way. So we all get to work together to ease those discomforts that we just mentioned, find a little bit more inner peace, find a different perspective if necessary, and offer insights, all for the goal of healing hearts. There we go, hearts and minds, with the overarching goal of finding self-sovereignty. So that is my big old massive why. And one of these days I'll have it all memorized and I'll be able to spout it out like that without stumbling over my words. But that is just to tell you why I do this. And there's so much joy in being able to connect maybe a loved one to a nephew or a sweet sister that passed away some time ago. There's so much joy in being able to do that. So I hope y'all get it. I hope you understand my way. So like I mentioned just a moment ago, we're reading on life questions. So I use the frame of our guides, our guardians, our ancestors, because I believe they are working to like our best advantage. So let's pull the messages or the information from them. I'm going to trust that they're going to give me what I need to say for you to hear, and then we work that way. We work that way. Hey, Tony. So let me get back into the comments. I want to see you all. And I will try to remember every now and then to do that shameless plug of where you can reach out to me, where you can find me if you're interested in getting more work done. Because after all, who else is going to shamelessly plug myself? Wonderful. Oh my goodness, Heather, that's right. That's your name. I just wanted to make sure because I always have that memory and I'm never quite sure. But yes. Oh, I am good, Lori. I am I'm not running behind. I'm not super busy today, but I feel like I haven't quite put my feet on the ground yet. So after this session, I might actually like use a meditation or spend some time sitting on the ground to kind of get me recentered. Because I know we're about to go way up in the clouds, right? But I might need to kind of reground myself and put my feet back on the ground. So I think I may do that. So thank you. Thank you so much for asking. Patricia has a nice little question. I love that you have that. I might be pulling on it in just a sec, but I love to say, I love to use this time to say hello. Sandrine! Aw, you're growing and oh, thank you. Can I like give you like tons of hugs? Like non-COVID hugs. How do we do that? Especially now that we got a variant, non-COVID variant hugs. How about that? Oh, what I need to hear. Wonderful, wonderful. Pamela, hello, hello. I'm glad you're here. Yes, reset and relax. Damn right. Damn right. I love the work though. So it's never a burdensome. It's never laborious. It's just I get energized, and then to not walk into the house, messing up my other business, like fluttering around everywhere. It's like, hold on, let me get my feet under me. Let me get my feet under me. Oh my goodness. Tony is like, you need to ground yourself as well. So actually, since we're kind of on that topic, let me share like a couple ways that I like to ground, and then we'll hop into questions because we'll make that go. But when it comes to grounding, there's so many ways to do it, but these are just some of the methods that I like to use and probably will use today. So for instance, I will literally sit on my treehouse floor. It's a solid wood floor, so it'll be pretty easy to kind of feel connected to something solid underneath me. And then if I want to deploy meditation at the same time, usually I'm closing my eyes and then pretending that either my bum or my legs or my feet, whatever it is that's kind of connected to the ground, is like plunging into the ground, plunging into the crust of the planet, like I'm literally like visualizing the layers of this planet. Like I'm that person. So I'm visualizing those layers, and I'm feeling that my roots, if I'm a tree, for instance, is just burrowing down, burrowing down, burrowing down. And then I try to make myself feel like my roots are wrapping around the warmth of our core, or that, magma area before it burns me kind of thing. And for some reason, that feeling of allowing my roots to go that deep, anchor itself to the gravity of our planet, and then allowing my brain to kind of go upward into whatever upward feels like at that moment. Maybe it's a tree, maybe it's like the source energy, maybe it's another planet, whatever it happens to be at that moment. That feels like it helps me get from way up high to kind of square down into the solidness of where I'm sitting. And then that practice of them pulling my roots back up, but settling on the ground just feels like really, really stable, really, really settled. If I can't do stuff like that, I do have sprays that I'll use. They're over there. I'll spray them on the bottom of my feet, and it seems like just the activation of like my awareness, just my awareness of being like pulled to my feet kind of like helps me ground a little bit. And if you know anything about crystals or gemstones or things like that, tourmaline, quartz, smoky quartz, obsidian are really, really good stones. They're all dark pigmented stones that are really, really useful to kind of make yourself feel restabilized. And in all reality, use whatever stone makes you feel that way, because that's the purpose of it, is to however it activates with you, right? Does that make sense? So I hope that makes sense. I hope that sorry, I just saw Sandrine come up with a really cute question. But I hope that makes sense in regards to like grounding. And that's a really interesting question, Sandrine. So Florida water, the way I understand it, it originally was created as like a cologne, I believe in like early 1900s, I think. And then folk magic practitioners used to use the cologne water to make an area smell better, or make themselves smell better. So they used it in all these places. And then eventually it kind of morphed into like anything that you do energy into has a power of some sort. It can be this pen. If I feel like this pen has magic powers and I will do amazing things with this pen, then that pen is a magic pen for me, because we have collectively decided that Florida water is this amazing product, then it has amazing properties for me or for this person. Now, if I hand this to my mother or my cat, she'll just look at it and be like, thank you, and move about her merry way. But there's lots of people who talk about Florida water and the different brands and different companies that make Florida water. Personally, I like I prefer homemade or small batch, like, that friend that down the way that happens to make little goodie stuff. Like, I love that because I love the intention that goes into it and the personalization that goes into that. And that makes me like all juicy and chewy. And I love those things. So I hope that makes sense to you all. But anywho, let's go ahead and hop into some questions. So I know that you guys have already thrown some in. I will start from the top, work my way down. Actually, what I'll do is I'll pick one because sometimes y'all aren't here for the reading and I want you to be here for it. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to grab a question and then we're going to start there. Okay. So let's see. And Lori, that's spot on. Like good luck charm water. That's one way to think about it. And now everybody has their own belief structure around the purpose of the uses of Florida water. I feel like to each their own, find what works for you. So there you go. So let's pull a question. That's a cool one to start. Will your aunt be successful in selling the family land from underneath her mother? Will your aunt be successful in selling the family land and house from underneath her mother? Your aunt, her mother. So it's we'll get genealogy. So to me, it's like when we're asking that question, I'm almost kind of wondering, like, is this like one of those things you don't want this to be successful? Or what? So let's dig into it a little bit. Let me get my paper. I need to sketch. I love sketching when I do this with you all. And I'm going to try to keep an eye on the comments with you, Miss Heather, so that we can kind of understand what your situation says. Right? We don't want her to sell it. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stick with the question though. So will your aunt succeed in this? Selling the land from... what do we need to know? This is one of those situations where it feels exceedingly more complex than what's directly on the surface. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's more layers to it than maybe even what you're aware of. But it's all good. Let's just see what shows up for us. So I'm trying to hop in, and it just feels way muddy. Because basically what I'm getting is the tug of war. I'm getting the like, this almost feels like gladiator style, like fighting, if that makes sense. She owns the land, but not the house. Okay. She owns the land, but not the house. That's unfortunate that one doesn't equal the other in that kind of situation. Because that makes things really, really complicated, I'm sure. Dude, what do we need to know about this? Damn. Okay, so I'm sorry that I'm not like immediately coming up with amazingness because it feels so much more complicated than just that question. Like, I feel like there is legal components to it. I feel like there is relationship components to it. There is like promises that have been written into wills and been written into legal stuff, and that the legal stuff is counter, what do you call it? When contradicting, that's the word I'm going for. The legal stuff is contradicting the verbal agreements. Like, there's things that are just contradicting. Told not to sell the land, she's trying to, but was sneaky about it. That's okay. So that's what we're feeling. So the funny thing is, honey, it's like there's these two aspects of it, because I know that you guys don't want her to do this, but I feel like it's within her legal rights to do so, and it might actually benefit her in some way. Not a bad benefit, just like she's getting something out of it, obviously. And so she feels like she's within her rights to go about doing it. Okay. So the deeper I'm digging into it, the more I'm peeling back the layers of it. And I feel like this is a lot of, if it's possible to be objective, then she could, maybe even should, sell the land based on the circumstances surrounding it. However, the stuff that I'm feeling is that there's a lot of family history, family drama, family trauma that is working itself out in this circumstances. And it's like no one is actually able to see this from an objective point of view, is the feeling that I'm getting. So if will she be successful? Legally, yes, but morally, no. Gotcha. Understood. Understood. Because the hardship is that morality is subjective, and morality depends on the lived experience of the person who is going through that situation. So the funny thing for me though, sitting from here, is that I feel like I'm understanding both sides of this coin and understanding how tumultuous both ends of it is. And I want to take your side because you're like the person who's hanging out with me and enjoying my time and spending time with me and sharing time with you. But I almost feel like it would be irresponsible of me to sit here and think or try to tell you that she's not going to be successful, because right now it feels like a big ass question mark. I feel like it's still being worked out. I feel like it's in somebody else's hands. I feel like it's not been set out in stone as of yet, and regardless of the moral implications, I feel like that's not at play here. There's a financial component that's working its way out that I think will be beneficial to the whole in some way, but I don't know those details. So it's like I'm only getting like the front layer of the information, and it's probably just because it's not my business. It's not my business to dig into it. Um, but I maybe let's look at it from a different perspective then. So like, how can you be okay, or how can you be of support to your family if she is successful in selling this land? I feel like that might be a more that's an area that you have a little bit more control over, is how you can be a support to your family or to your siblings or to your mother or whoever it may be if that happens. Is question, I don't know if it's a possibility for you or anybody else, but is it possible that you could buy the land from her? Like, I wonder if that's something. But I love your honesty. Thank you. Do you know if it's possible that somebody or maybe the members of the family can combine their resources to buy the land from her? Is that something that is possible? Or maybe dig in deeper to find out why she is selling. Like, does she no longer want the tax responsibility, the tax burden? Maybe she's trying to get out from underneath. Maybe she's underwater for this land, and maybe she just like, have we find out why she's selling and maybe address that? No, not right now. She said no to us. Okay. Because we got to figure out what it is that matters to her and then address that directly. And I feel like that's only going to be stuff that you guys know. Because if you guys have a cash offer, for instance, then why would she say no to that? Or, for instance, sell the land to a realtor and then you buy the land from the realtor directly. Like, you guys don't even have to be relationshiply involved. Can she say no to a sell? Like, if she put the land on the market and you were the offer that she accepted, could she? I don't know. That's an interesting real estate question, and I would love to talk with the realtor to kind of give that component some work. Oh, wait. She said no one gave her a key to the pool room. Sorry, so these are one of those situations, like, I feel like we need to be in the same room to kind of understand. She needed a place and my grandmother gave it to her. Gotcha. And she has a realtor. So in that kind of situation, hey Austin, I wonder if you can, instead of trying to fight her, how can you move with her and meet her where she's at to make an offer that she'll accept? Because I guarantee you the pool room is not the problem. That is not the problem. Who really does, like, there is so much work that goes into selling. Like, a pool room is not the problem. So I'm wondering if maybe you can reach out to another realtor and have the realtors connect. so that we can find a little bit more information. You can deal with each other on the same ground instead of the emotional ground that everything is going under. Does that make sense? Because I feel like at this point, you guys are pushing uphill and what you're doing isn't working. And selling is not necessarily a bad thing, but you guys have this moral heartstring attached to it, understood completely. Then what can you guys do to kind of combine forces and maybe attack the issue from a solution point of view? Like, all right, if you want to sell, let us buy. Like, that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, it shouldn't be a problem, but I'm sure some people can make it a problem. And if it is a problem for her to sell to you, then get another realtor involved so that you have the two middlemen dealing with it, so that you guys don't even have to be involved, if that makes sense. Can you see why she's doing this to the family? I can try. Because okay, so when it comes to third parties, so I'm reading for you about another person. When it comes to this third party, that other person, I feel like I'm limited to the amount of privacy that they are willing to share with me, and then their team is willing to share with me. So I can probably give you like a high level overview. I'm not gonna be able to dig deep into her deepest, darkest secrets. Just because I can see them doesn't mean I need to share them. So I limit myself on what I can see there. And that's just an ethics line for me. But let's see what we can find out that you need to or can know from this situation. Because the biggest thing that I'm feeling is like twofold. One of it feels touch entitled, but also she feels justified based on how she was treated per se. So I feel like she's pulling up the lived experience of her life up to that point, and she feels like this is payment for that, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. Oh, not a problem, sweet pea. Gotcha. To me, it feels justified, quote unquote, right? Not that she's the feeling I'm getting is justified. She feels like this is her right to do something, and I'm not trying to judge it. I'm just what it feels like, and she feels justified in her actions. And in all reality, it's like, I know we like to believe that our family owes us something, and I think our societal standards say that they do. But in the actual reality of things, I'm learning personally that they don't owe us a thing. But that's just the lived experience of the family that I grew up in. So I don't know. It's an interesting ball of wax, if that makes sense. It's an interesting ball of wax. But let's see if there's anything else we can dig into to kind of help the situation improve for you, hun. Okay. For you, it's going to be really easy to slip and fall into a spiral of trying to defend the people around you. And I love that about you. But I also understand that that's going to make things kind of difficult sometimes for you. Like, your emotions get caught up in things you can't control. Your expectations get caught up in people you can't, control or understand. And that innately just does more damage to you than it actually helps the situation. So for you, if you have it within you to take steps to kind of professionally detach yourself from the high energy components of it, if it doesn't immediately affect you, for instance, she's in your face or she's fucking with your money right now kind of thing, then maybe see where you can kind of put some distance so that you can feel okay while you're going through this situation and while you're being a support to the people that are directly affected by this. I hope that makes sense. I know, like, you originally were looking for the answer. Is she going to be able to do this? And everything that I'm feeling is like it's within her right to do this, but so that moral component comes into of what can we do to help you feel better in the meantime? And it feels like managing your expectations and managing your emotions as best you can, because she is outside of your sphere of influence or ability to control. And so you trying to control the situation or trying to exert influence on the situation is almost insanity, and you're just going to drive yourself nuts. So I hope that makes sense, honey. Because I want to give more for it, but I feel like we're just going to be running around in circles, kind of leaning into that situation. I bet it's upset your grandma. And if you're protective of your grandmother, it would stress me the fuck out too. Like, I believe that 100%. But understandably, there's a solution of some sort. We don't know what it is. It might be multifaceted, but whatever it is, it still feels like it's evolving. However, I do still think that idea about pulling another realtor involved to connect with that realtor might be useful to build some barriers in between the two of y'all. Because if you have an offer on the table that she's willing to accept, then I don't know why she can or would say no. But that's just me. That's just me. Try it out. See if it if it helps, if it hurts. I also know that you sometimes bringing these ideas up to the other people in charge in the family, you might get looked down upon. So if that's the situation that shows up for you, then don't worry yourself anymore about it, because it'll just be more stressful. Just be more stressful. And Lord knows we don't need more stress in our lives. But thank you so much for that question, Heather. That was a chewy one to even like dig into. So thank you so much for sharing that one with me. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. Definitely. Let's look into that. All right, you guys. So I see that you all are throwing in your questions. Thank you so much. I do suggest when you throw in your questions, you go ahead and copy it, because I'll be reading for people who are here, and I may pull your question or I may not. And then we have another time to go in again. So let's pull. Okay. So honey, don't do that. Don't do that. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So think real hard before you do something like that about what's going to happen when you leave. What's going to happen to the person who's on the land? Huh? Don't do that. Don't do that. So, Miss Pamela, you need some guidance from your ancestors, darling. If you should move to Georgia or Houston, the place I'm at now, I'm so over it. Honey, I believe you. So let's hop in, Miss Pamela. Georgia or Houston? Georgia or Houston? Georgia or Houston? You know, the first thing that comes to mind to me is that, I don't know why it came like that. Forgive me in advance, because this is going to be a little bit rude, okay? Watch out for me. First thing I got was Georgia Peach. And then, all right, it went Georgia Peach, and then the Peach, and then it went to the Atlanta Peach of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and straight ass. So I don't know how that connection meets up for you, or if that makes any sense, but that was the visual I got right away. It was like when you said Georgia, it went to like Georgia Peach, and then brought me to Real Housewives of Atlanta, and that whole icon, that emblem from, was it Shawnee O'Neal, who's the executive producer of those series of shows. I hope that makes sense. But that's exactly what showed up for me. So let's see, like, if Houston or Georgia, because Georgia still feels good. There's so much, God, it just feels sexy to be in Georgia, honey. Woo, goodness. Dude, okay, so I'm trying, like, okay, why Houston? And Houston, it snaps me for a second, but I get snapped right back into Georgia. Like, it keeps showing up for Georgia. So I'm thinking Georgia might be one of those situations, if you're over it, I feel like you'd have a, gosh, it feels right. Y'all are making me blush. It feels straight up like a sexy situation to go to Georgia. Like, honey, like, go there. For instance. So you were shown Georgia too. See, why did you lead with that? You're funny. You are funny. If you already know Georgia, then yeah, everything feels good for leaning in that direction, as far as I can feel. Anywho, is there anything else that wants to come up? What else do we need to know about Georgia? Is there anything else that you need to know? Because to me, it feels culturally dynamic. It feels like there's opportunity for you there. It feels like going back into school, preferably historically Black college. If, for instance, hypothetically, those are the feelings that I'm getting when I'm thinking about Georgia. I'm thinking about the parades. What am I thinking about? Not Mardi Gras. Like, it's not that, but it's like a big festivity, like a parade kind of thing, where there's the, I don't know if it's like the marching band. I wish I could like describe this more, but my associations to it is like the bands that play during like area specific celebration. So you know how like Mardi Gras has the parade down Bourbon Street or what have you. Like Macy's Day, the St. Macy's or the Macy's Day Parade has their band that plays in that area down that street. Like that's kind of the visual that I was getting for that. So I'm going to go ahead and block this person. I'm so sorry that they're bugging you. Block user. Yeah. There you go. And delete. Gotcha. And if my Lori is here, if you have the ability to delete those comments, I would love that for me, sweet pea. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Miss Lori is a moderator for me, and we're experiencing or we're trying to figure out the routine of how this is going to work for her to be a moderator in our situation here. So my bad that those spammy people came in and did that craziness. So I'm going to delete what I can. I'm sure she's going to delete what she can. And together, we're working on it. So please feel free to block, ban, and delete anybody that reaches out to you saying that they have a, what do you call it, a message from the something. You were looking for the comments? No worry, hun. We got you. We got you. She'll get the next one. She'll get the next one. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Sandrine. I might have to do the same for you too, Sweet Pea, because you are always like ride or die right in here with us. But yeah, totally kind of like a homecoming. Actually, it did feel very much like homecoming. Like that was the reference point that I was getting in my brain in relation to like the homecoming parades that I used to go to when I was in high school in Pine Bluff. So that was like the visual and being like amongst the bands and that energy of just being hype and having the Greek parties and just the culture and the festivities. Like that was the feel that I had with it. I hope that makes sense. So where'd you go, Sweet Pea? Miss Pamela. I think that makes sense. So I guess to answer your question directly, like Georgia or Texas, I'm thinking, and you said you had a guy there. I'm thinking Georgia might be where your boo thing is, and there might be some cheeky fun with them cheeks. If that makes sense. Makes sense, Sweet Pea. Groovy. So if you have a question, please feel free to go ahead and throw it into the comments. I'm going to pull for the next one that I see. We'll just keep going. She laughs. Girl, I hope you waxed. I hope you got that fabulous, what do you call them? What does Beyonce say? Your freakum dress? Because you're going to need it. You're going to need it. Oh, my dear. You're very welcome, Sweet Pea. You're very welcome. All right, Miss Crystal, just a question, wondering if you're able to see or sense if I am pregnant. You know what, hun, in that kind of situation, I always recommend that you get a pregnancy test. Because that will tell you if you're pregnant at the moment, because we can be pregnant right now and maybe it'll show up in our cards, but more it shows up as a lifestyle change or a life shift like that. Or not, but there's all sorts of layers to pregnancy. So I always kind of recommend that you lean more, instead of cards to see if you're pregnant, to you getting a pregnancy test. I'm going to lean that one into a pregnancy test. You just want some. Yes, I know, love just wanted some other insight. Understood completely. What do you think? Tell me, do you feel like you're pregnant? Is it like, what's going on for you? I bet you think you do. Like, are you? Oh, and do you want to be pregnant? That's always a question. Ooh, that's so cool. Oh, I'm always a big fan of people when they get because you turn into aliens. You're not even human anymore. You turn into aliens when you were pregnant. I know, because I've had a child. I wasn't human. I'm following up with you, Crystal. There you go. I don't know, because if you said I have conceived but not sure, you'll be sure in 2 weeks. No, I'm laughing in jest about this because in reality, so I'll break it down and be a little bit serious with you, honey. If 5 people have said yes, then my opinion does not matter. Because what does matter is the test results, and then the blood results, and then the appointment with the doctor, and then all of that stuff. That's what matters. You already got the wonderful insights of 5 people. You do not need 6. You do not need 6. So love you to bunches, love you to bits and pieces. I look forward to hearing if you're pregnant. So totally come back and let me know, because now I need to celebrate. I need to celebrate with you and help you pick out names. Like, that's what I want to do. Does that make sense? But you're amazing. Oh, thank you. I just thought maybe you could sense it for me. Honey, I would love for you to lean into the intuition you've already gained from the other people you've already pulled resources from. I want you to believe them, because trust and faith is a really useful skill if it's flexed and believed, right? So thank you so much for telling me that. Amazing. I want to give you hugs and love for days, but definitely come back and let me know if you're pregnant, because then we can start talking like, picking out names. I want to be a part of the gender reveal, even if it's just my webcam at a distance. I want to send you some like little kitty baby booties. Again, that's if you're keeping. There's lots to talk about that. But thank you so much for that question anyway, Miss Crystal. And please continue throwing questions. I totally will take something else, anything else that you're interested in. Oh, you're gonna make me blush. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, Miss Denise, how about this? You're in a deep funk. I'm sorry. Wondering if you will feel better soon. You know what, Hunbunch, let's dig into it, because there's a lot of different ways to approach that kind of situation, but let's see what your stuff shows up for me. So if you've not noticed yet, the way that I'm reading is that, yes, I'm shuffling cards, but I'm not necessarily pulling cards, because the shuffling of the cards kind of is a meditative practice in itself for me. I'm looking at a camera here and a camera there, if you're wondering. And me shuffling the cards kind of pulls in that information, kind of helps channel in that information so I can answer the question that Miss Denise asks. So if you're wondering, why am I doing this and then not doing anything with it? That's why. All right, sweet peas. Let's see. What does Denise need to know about feeling better? What do I need to know about this? Denise. So this feels like multifaceted, Denise, because the first thing that I'm feeling is kind of like this, when you don't feel good, then you do things that don't make you feel good. And then it's like turns into a little bit of spiral of like the things that still don't feel good. So we stay stuck thinking that we're going to feel better soon, but we're not feeling, because it just turns into this little, that whole craziness that it just sounded. Yeah, it turns into that. So the feeling I was getting immediately was like, okay, so for instance, I emotionally didn't feel good. So I then go and eat some cake because I'm a comfort food person. But now I have a wicked stomach ache because of the food. And now I have to take some Pepto or what have you, or spend my time in the bathroom, and I'm still not feeling well. So it's like a spiral of not feeling well. And then because I don't feel well, I go and eat more junk. So my situation just kind of spirals and continues to do the thing that does the thing. So the feeling I'm getting is that we need to interrupt this cycle in some way. We need to kind of put a wedge in the wheel so that you don't keep spinning, you don't keep spiraling. Because part of this is okay, so I'm not discounting at all what you're going through or your situation or why you feel kind of meh. But there's elements of choice that we all have in our emotions. So with that being said, what can we do to start incrementally feeling just a tiny bit better? Because if you could look at like an emotional wheel or emotional spectrum, and you've identified that you feel depressed, right? You find where it says depressed, and you'd rather feel ecstatic. Oops, sorry, where's the line? You'd rather feel ecstatic, but the jump from depressed to ecstatic is really, really far. So it might be easier, at least momentarily, to go from from depressed to angry. Instead of maybe being depressed, go ahead and let yourself feel a little bit of anger about whatever it is that you're going on or what's going on around you. After anger, you might get, another emotion, and not to judge the emotion, it's just another emotion. And you can start to kind of eventually tip your way into feeling something different, kind of step yourself out of the emotional moment that you're in. But also you can start shifting things around you to kind of help push around the energy. So like the visual that just came to mind is if, for instance, in your room or in your living room, whichever room you kind of spend the most time in, can you rearrange the furniture just to kind of change the energy that's in that room? That can often do a lot just to change the atmosphere. Another thing that you can do to kind of interrupt those wonky feelings is if you have, what would you call it? Sage. If you have some ethically harvest sage, you could sage the room, and then open the windows so that any of the excess energy that's in that room kind of has a way to leave. That's something that you could do. What else is going on there? Because every time I'm hopping back into your energy, I feel like we're making choices. I feel like we're making choices about what we're spending our time and our energy focused on. And I feel like that's perpetuating you not feeling better. So if, for instance, every time I want to get specific to your situation though. Okay, so let me give you the example that just showed up for me. So if you are anxiety ridden because our planet is going to shit, you listening to the news does not help the situation. So if you have a habit of listening to something every time you're doing whatever, listen to something else. Listen to something that makes you feel a little bit more energetic. Listen to something that kind of brings that smile to your face, or at least makes you feel like a badass while you listen to it. Like sometimes I will go through phases where it's just, I need to listen to angry music. I don't know why. It makes me happy. I will do that. And so for whatever reasons, Disturbed is my go-to. The song Indestructible. I wish I could have you all listen to that. I might post it in here later because it is aggressive, it is assertive, it is empowering, it is warrior music. For me being an Aries, that's totally my song. It's Disturbed's Indestructible, and I swear I'm aging myself by even saying it out loud, but it's my shit. And then other times I want to feel like I'm a little bit more confident. So something kind of Beyonce will be just right up there. Or if I'm trying to get that mid place between Disturbed and Beyonce, it'll be Pink. I'll listen to some a Pink album or what have you, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. But that's what the whole point I'm getting to, is that there's elements of choice in the funk that you're feeling in. And so maybe taking some opportunities or some yeah, look for the little opportunities where you can influence your own mood, even if it's just a little bit. If it's having happy or light or airy, what do you call it? Shows, such a hard word. Shows on Netflix on, like having that. Animals is so good for that. Nature shows are so good for that. Look at, oh my God, where's my phone? Oh wait, my phone's here. Sometimes when I get into emotional funks, I will start streaming cat videos because it makes me laugh. And that's the whole point, is just to let yourself laugh, to take, it's you taking ownership and responsibility for your emotions as they are and as you want them to be. So the fact that you can shift and change them, those are some tools that I gave you that can kind of help kick you out of those funks when you're in them. And is there anything else? Is there anything else we need to know? Dude, I feel like that's because that's where it comes back to. That's where it comes back to me with you, is choosing your feelings, choosing your influence, choosing what you focus your time and attention on, so that you are choosing your feelings and not being manipulated by the environment around you. I hope that makes sense, honey, because if it doesn't, Denise, totally let me know what part I need to clarify on. I will talk about that until the cows come home, because one of the things that I always wish that I could like put in a bottle and give to each and every one of you is the memory that you all can choose. We all can choose the thoughts, the feelings, maybe not essentially the reactions that we have, but the thoughts and feelings, the beliefs are just the thoughts that we continue to think over and over again. The feelings, the energy that we decide to allow into our sphere of influence, we all have choice in that. So I hope that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Anywho, you all, and totally let me know, Denise, how that lands for you. I wouldn't mind. I would love to hear your perspective. So I will totally like to pull another question. Let's keep going because this is fun. Oh, I almost missed it. Okay, there we go, Hun Bunch. Hey, Miss V. You're new? Hi. Can you tell me if the family that's around me being fake? I've sensed this. Oh, can you tell me if the family that's around me, I'm assuming, is being fake, like you've sensed? I'm assuming, right? You'll totally have to let me know. And Denise, that was spot on. Choosing to feel better. That's exactly it. Even if you just have to say that on repeat, I choose to feel better. I choose to feel better. Do whatever you need to. So let's see. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm glad I got it. Thank you, Miss B. If the family that's around you, can you tell me if the family that's around me is being fake? Okay. I'm getting 2 bits of information. I feel like I need to clarify it. So first thing is, if you feel fakeness around you, then you're probably right. So we're going to hold that off to the side. However, often we have a reflex that shows up that we try to judge that fakeness. That doesn't really help or serve the situation at all. Instead, maybe figure out why or understand why. And not so much that you can fix their fakeness, but more if you can have some compassion for whatever it is they're going through. Because often people are fake because there's an insecurity, there's a neurotic behavior, there's a family trauma, there's some drama that they're trying to hide, there's some embarrassment, maybe some shame. There's usually something going on there that makes people put up their facade or put up their walls or put up whatever it happens to be. So instead of judging the fakeness, maybe encourage when able, because sometimes, one, it's not your work, but if you just happen to be in the room, you can encourage their authenticity. You can encourage them to speak honestly. You can encourage by also living the same, right? Because I wouldn't be surprised if you're witnessing the fakeness in them. It's because you still sometimes display fakeness to others, right? So if they are a mirror of us, then you're witnessing something in yourself. So it gives you a really nice opportunity to maybe pull down some of your own layers, pull down some of your own facades that that may not even be useful anymore. Some cards did actually fly out of the deck. You want me to share these with you? Because the first card I got was the Tower. And then the next card I got was the Ten of Cups. So how contrasting of a situation is that? To me, that is the ultimate facade. Is like if you're going through a tower moment, for instance, and then you say everything is beautiful, everything is wonderful, that's a full-on fakery. And dealing with the fact that you feel insecure, that the rug has been pulled out from underneath you, that you're freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional is the fastest way to actually deal with what's going on instead of pretending that it never even existed. Does that make sense? I do feel like it'll be a little bit of work. We got the Three of Pentacles. So my thought is encourage, but don't press against their fakery, because that doesn't help. When you press against someone's fakery, basically they just hold on to their ideals even more. So instead, just allow them to have the space, the space or the safe place to be authentic or to be a little bit more open. They also may just not know how, so that might be another thing to think about or to kind of mull through and consider, if that makes sense. But let's see if there's anything else in there that I can dig into for us. No, it feels like it feels like a defense mechanism that's learned through the way that they've been raised and in the life that they've lived and the circumstances that they've gone through. So it's not a judgment of them to you or about you. It's more of the internalized everything, and they just may not have the tools to do anything different. So that just may be exactly where it's at the moment. And so we'll kind of just have to have some compassion with them and let it be, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, V. And totally let me know. Totally let me know. Let's see. Thank you so much for your question, V. Let's see. Could I see that you've already thrown in your questions, Miss Sandrine? You and Sandrine and Joy, you guys are like right there. I love it. So how do my ancestors and guides want me to connect with them? Let's see. How do they? So I'm kind of internally asking, like, is there a specific method? Because usually my understanding is that we're not so worried, if I was speaking from their point of view, we're not so much worried about how you do it. We just want you to do it. Does that make sense? So a specific method may not necessarily be the case. It's more of just what method works for you too. What method works for you, Sandrine? Is it tarot that works for you? Is it sitting at your altar space and meditating? Is it writing, journaling? Is it singing? Is it praying? Is it dream work? You know, there's so many ways in which you can connect to any aspect of yourself, any aspect of your ancestors. Do what works. Do what works. You know, the funny thing I am getting for you though is an idea that might be useful because you have a tarot background. Here it is. Hold on. So this is a book that I'm working through myself because I love ancestral stuff, but this might be useful for you too, Sweet Pea. Using tarot to kind of talk and commune with your ancestors and also learn about your ancestors. This was recommended for a prize within the tarot community too. So it's a really good book. So I thoroughly recommend. And I've had the opportunity to accidentally annoy the author once. I still feel bad about that. I said a joke and it was like, too soon. My bad. Sorry. But she's super sweet. She's super sweet and she's part of the tarot community. And so you could probably reach out to her, ask her questions, ask me questions. I thoroughly recommend kind of a structured or semi-structured practice. Because there's something about coming to a project or coming to a something on a regular basis that's really useful to kind of cracking open those it's not even cracking open. It's like stretching into recesses that you've not necessarily explored before. But she's a wildly knowledgeable person. I thoroughly recommend the book. If you need to see it again, there you go. It's Ancestral Tarot by Nancy Hendrickson. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's helpful because anything else that I'm getting is not important, is the way it feels. You'll check it out on Amazon. Why are they never telling You know, it's funny. You're spot on because every time you and I work together, what I get is like hypothetically, if I'm walking into your classroom giving you the answers to the test, is kind of the feel. And so I just come to it like every time, knock on the door, and I get what I get, and that's it. And that's all I deal with. Again, because it's an epic thing. I don't push past any boundaries that have been set up by either you or your own team. And for me, I feel like you're going through processes, but your big lesson that you're working on is faith and trust. And if you have to validate all of your stuff through somebody else, that's basically cheating on the test, you know? So not at all saying that your life is a test, but if your goal is faith and trust, I'm not helping. But we can always chat about it. We can always talk about it. I can always knock on the door and see what they'll give me. So that's what I will do. And that's what I'll continue to do for you, sweetie. So no worries there. See, even you just said faith and trust is a big one. I totally understand. So that's why it's like every time I come up to your question, I knock on the door essentially, and it's like I feel like I'm like looking through the window just a little bit, but I'm like, I feel like teachers like feel like nicely like run along kind of thing. Like she's busy, she's doing something here. I'm like okay, but always thank you, Sanji. Always thank you. I do hope you get the book. It's a good one. It's a good one. I'm still working through it myself. All right, Miss Joy. Let's keep reading. I started the process of home buying and I keep encountering obstacles. Is this something I should keep going at? Or is now not the best time and I should redirect my focus to something else? I love that. Let's see. Joy, what do you need to know about this home buying situation? Joy. Okay, so this is an odd feeling for me, so I hope it makes sense to you. The feeling that I'm getting so much is like, we love that you have all these opportunities around you. However, they're not quite suited to the house that you've actually asked for. So hypothetically, say for instance, you've made this internal request for a house and you see that this house is on the market. So you go and look at it and you place your offer or what have you, and it gets declined. Good, because you were settling anyway. Like that's not what you wanted. You're waiting for you to get what you want. So it's to me, it's not so much obstacles as in like bad you for trying to do this shopping thing, bad you for, or you're not supposed to have a house, you're not supposed to do the thing. It feels more like these homes that you're not getting aren't suited for you. to begin with. I'm sorry that the audio is garbled. I hope it clears up for us because I don't believe I'm connected to anything. Oh, damn, I am. Hold on. Does that help? Because I just realized my watch might have been getting all my audio. My bad. Hold on, let's move the watch over there. Does that help at all? I hope that helps. And if not, I'll restart my mic or something on the phone. But thank you for letting me know, Kia. I hope. Sorry, I'm just hoping it's at least a little bit clearer. You know what? I think we might have to invest in a mic, like an actual maybe lapel mic. It's getting a little bit better. Okay. Guide said no more talking for Abby. Sandra, you might be on to something. She's like, she's talking too much. She needs to stop. So we're just gonna make it so that nobody can hear her. Oh my goodness. Oops, I lost it. Where'd she go? There we go. So no, just to clarify here, and I hope that you can still hear me, Sweet Pea, but to clarify, it feels more like not so much that you're not supposed to get a house or that you're not supposed to be focusing on this or not supposed to be doing the activities to get you here. I feel like you're just getting some assistance in the process where it's like these things don't match your criteria anyway, so they're getting kind of batted out of your system, out of your way. So I would just think of it like, nope, we're getting closer to what we actually desire. We're getting closer to what actually meets the mark for us. And that's perfect. That's perfect. Because right now it is also, keep in mind that the housing market right now is more in the seller's advantage than it is the buyer's advantage. So it may be wise. So you can totally pause, but I don't feel like it's a big deal either way if you continue to try to buy a house or not. I feel like if you didn't buy the house, you could continue to stack some money, and that always has a nice thing to it. But either now or later doesn't have a big difference to me or feel to me. So my suggestion or my invitation for you is just maybe shifting how we're thinking about it in the moment. It's like we're just getting things out of the way. It's just decluttering. It's just getting things out of the way so that the house that's meant for you, that's suited for your needs, just shows up ever so beautifully. But I hope that makes sense, Sweet Pea. Good. I'm glad that you can hear. Anita is like, hey, spiritual bestie. Oh, I like that you use that. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Oh my goodness, that's funny. The book came up to $24.44. I think you're supposed to get it, Sandrine. So that's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm glad that it made sense for you, Miss Joy. I hope that makes sense. So let's keep reading for a little bit. I am a little bit over time, but I late to start. I was kind of slow rolling in. So let's keep going a little bit. Kia, you had an interesting question. I often hear my name called in my sleep. I'm not sure who it is or why. Is it a warning? So did we talk about this yesterday when we were talking about like spiritual Q&A? Because I had a question that was like very close to that. And having your name called in your sleep, I feel like is very much a nice, an easy way to access a psyche. And it's more of, you're not distracted by your day. You're not distracted by everything else that's going on around you, by all the glitter, all the lights. You're kind of in that, oh, you think you had to run. Gotcha. You're not in that day-to-day stuff of what's going on in your life. So it's not necessarily a warning per se, because I feel like with my team anyway, if it's a warning, they will kind of smack you in the face with it, or they will push you out the way of it, or they will create some sort of circumstance where it's obvious, right? I've never been a believer of the whole, like, we're just going to subtly speak to you, and then if you're not clever enough to get it, your life is just terrible. I'm not a proponent of that kind of ideology, and I don't like that whole situation. So at least that's how my team works with me. So if you're hearing your name, then to me the way it feels is more of like that's a member of my team, or an energy that's reaching you specifically, or trying to talk to you specifically, or an ancestor. Do you have a grandmother that's already passed? Maybe she's reaching out to you directly, and it snaps you awake every time. Got you. So in sitting here chatting with you just a bit, the feeling that I'm getting is kind of like an older, at least I'm looking at your age, right? And so when I feel older energy, to me, this is like mother, grandmother, but this is older than mother. It feels more like grandmother, possibly great, but it feels more like on target for being a grandmother energy that shows up for me. So I'm wondering if maybe if you have a grandmother that has passed away, your grandmother's ashes are in the house. Oh, very sweet. Um, I can totally, the feeling that I'm getting is that I think it might be her kind of reaching out to you a little bit. So if it's disturbing or distressing, you can ask her just not to use that method. Like, I love you, grandma, but you're freaking me out. Can you talk to me during the day? Can you make my hand tingly before you talk to me, or what have you? Um, Maybe work a different partnership with your grandmother so that it's less unsettling when she connects with you. No, okay, so she's just hopping into the session. What do you want? Can you go ahead and tell me her name? Okay, I need to sketch this. Jean! Yay! Jean. Jean. What do you want her to know? So I do feel like the whispers are her, but I feel like she talks to you all the time. Like, the visual that she's kind of giving me is like when you were a little kid, she would tuck you into bed and kind of give you like the, aw, I don't know if this makes sense, so I'm just going to share the feeling that I'm getting because I don't know. This is more your family than it is mine. But when she tucks you into bed, it's like she's sitting on the side of the bed, kind of whispering to you all of her hopes and dreams for you. And it's kind of like, oh, I hope that you have a wonderful life and that you have a magnificent story and the house that's super big, that you have all the dreams and all the ambitions. So it just feels like yeah, like she's whispering and sharing her prayers and her best wishes for you while she's tucking you in. So it's not even as a so the question about it being a warning, it's not even close to that. So don't even entertain that idea. What else do you want her to know? She's brought up your toes a couple times. Because she brought up her toes for a moment when, like, if you were little, like little toes, like little piggy toes kind of thing. But now it's more like, even as an adult, is she picking your feet? Like, what is this about your feet that she's bringing my attention to? So the visual that she's giving me is like, say hypothetically, you're laying in bed and your feet are out of the covers. So your feet are cold. And there's that loving gesture of putting her hands around your feet and kind of like, trying to make your feet warm kind of thing. Like, that's the feeling that I'm getting, is trying to make your feet warm. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't feel malicious. So it's all good there. Aw, that's lovely. What else? Huh. Okay, I don't know. She's giving me a visual that I don't quite understand, so I just don't know how to apply it. And that's okay. It's usually not my work to interpret it. It's my work to share the information. So is there any reason why your grandmother and the Romani, the gypsy culture, like, would be like really close together for her? Your right foot gets cramps at night. Oh, maybe that's what she's doing. It's kind of trying to rub the cramps out for you. But yeah, is there any reason why your grandmother would be connected to like the Romani culture, or that kind of energy of maybe, well, hold on, I'm trying to get it very clear from her what she's trying to make me understand. Huh. What are you making me understand here? Because I know, like, culturally specific, like usually the 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 term gypsy is usually looked on as a derogatory term for that particular culture, but that's the word she's giving me. So that's just like, okay, thanks, Grandma. I wonder what that one is. No worries. What's going on? What else does she need to know? What else does she need to know? You finally caught me live, Miss Gabrielle. Gotcha. Let's see. What else does your grandmother want us to know? Do you have something specific from your grandmother that or something specific you want to ask your grandmother that I can ask her for you, if that makes sense? That's the way that she brought it up to me, was like the Romani gypsies first, but she kept using the term gypsy, like that was the term that was over and over again. And so maybe she's not necessarily Romani, but the term gypsy was used with her a lot, or that sound, that word, because there's a million reasons why they might bring up a word for me, but I suspect that it's like the energy association, or maybe that term meant something for you, or maybe that's how you guys thought of her, even if she wasn't necessarily Romani. It's like kind of the charades part of it, if that makes sense. But if not, that's totally okay too. Because maybe she's just bringing me to like a free spirit kind of lifestyle that she wants me to be aware of, for you or for her. But nothing to ask, but I love her and miss her. I hope she's resting comfortably and I'm making her proud. Aw, you guys, that's like super sweet. And she like gives me all feel goods and stuff. The feeling that I'm getting is like twofold. One of which is that you couldn't not make her proud. And so she really wants you to understand that there's nothing that you could do to disappoint her. So if you ever get that in your mind, it's kind of like she wants you to swat it away, because there is nothing that you can do that would disappoint her, because she loves you unconditionally, even if somebody else doesn't, even if other things, doesn't do that for you. She loves you unconditionally, and you're always that, because she brings you up as a little kid all the time. At least that's how she's referencing you as little to her. So she reminds me of like cherub cheeks, and something about cheeks and rosy cheeks. So you'll always have like that little kid cheeks kind of thing. Does that make sense? No. Oh, no tears. No bad tears anyway. I love it though. No, it's like if you want to, I feel like tactile communication could be really, really useful for you. So if you, for instance, have a ring or have a blanket, like she shows up a couple times with a blanket kind of shawl thing, wrap yourself up in whatever those things are, or wear those little articles that are of hers, and that can kind of make her, kind of pull her closer to you when you feel like you need them. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Aw, you were very close when you were young. Yeah, that's the feel I get. Hey, Lori, can you take care of that little spammer that just hopped in? Let's see. All right, let's go ahead and pull one more question. So go ahead and put your question into the comments. We'll go ahead and get you going. I think Lori's got it. Let's see. Here we go. Miss Pamela, one more question. Sweet. Should you continue growing the relationship with a guy I already know in Georgia, or is it a new guy waiting for you? Let's see. And if Lori, if you're not able to delete them, let me know and I can take care of it for us. We usually have to block and ban first. Okay. Should you continue growing the relationship with the guy that you already met? There you go. Excuse me if I do a little. There we go. Sweetums. Okay. It's all good, my dear. You new guy or same guy? Okay. The feeling that I'm getting regarding you and these guys in Georgia, there's a there's a twofold wisdom to it because there's one aspect of it where it's like, honey, don't limit yourself to just one guy. So you think you banned the wrong person? It's okay, Lori. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. No worries. Anywho, Miss Pamela, when it comes to the guys in Georgia, I feel like let's not worry about limiting ourselves to just this one or that one. Because if we don't worry so much about these people, and instead you shift yourself into being the most awesome version of you that you can create for yourself, then you'll have others show up, but also you'll have others that are better suited. And the others that'll be better suited will naturally kind of draw you in, draw your attention, and it won't necessarily be something that has to work to be developed. It will just kind of can't help but be developed. And it's like it turns into a natural inclination for the two of you to invest in each other and spend time with each other. But it feels like not so much these, and it's not so much that anybody is waiting per se, because you just feel like you're open to opportunity and opportunity is available to you. So let's not limit ourselves to these kind of situations. Does that make sense? So it feels like you just have more that's available to you, and I really would love for you to enjoy being woman, enjoy being energetically beautiful and amazing sauce and beast mode lady pants and all these wonderful aspects, and have fun and enjoy yourself and learn more about yourself than you have ever by these connections, but not limiting yourself to these connections, right? So I hope that makes sense. And you said, oh boy. Because I just see you getting so much bigger being in Georgia, not like physically bigger, like I don't see you gaining weight. Let's clarify there, but more like your personality becomes something that's bigger and a little bit more vibrant, if that makes sense. That makes sense. And so with that improved version, that higher revving, that higher energetic point, whatever words you want to apply to it, just attracts a better caliber of boy toy. And y'all gonna be doing some things. I wonder if that's why this whole Georgia Peach thing keeps like showing up for me. One of these days you're gonna come back, so like, you know that peach that you kept talking about? I'm like, yeah, Jesus. And I'll just die laughing. But it's going to be good for your business as well. Perfect. Perfect. That's what we like to hear. No worries, not Vicky. Lori, I got you taken care of there. But you all, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I am flushed. I am 20 minutes over time, but that is all good. I do love hanging out with all of y'all. If you're interested in getting anything done with me one-on-one personally, please feel free to reach out. The website is in the Facebook post itself. Oh, I can also share it here so that you have it, and you can always book directly there. I'm scheduling right now until the end of December on Thursdays and Fridays exclusively, but you can always book directly on the website. And Pamela's like, you're the best, gotta book your one-on-one ASAP. Yes. You gotta get that done, huh? Alrighty, you all, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope you guys have a great week, and I want to do this again next week, so we'll see you next Friday. Come hang out, bring your questions, and have some fun. So you all take care. Mwah. Bunch of kisses as I end the thing.